Okay, brilliant. I think we'll make a start. So welcome everyone to this launch of the Carbon Literacy for University Leaders Toolkit. My name is Jane Mörk and I am a carbon literacy tutor at Manchester Metropolitan University. Right, so bear with me a sec. There we go. So what are we going to cover today? I'm going to give you a little bit of a background to what we've been doing at Manchester Met. So I'm going to talk about our current toolkits, and I will also talk about why we need a leader-specific toolkit. Following on from that, I'm going to give you a little outline of how the toolkit looks like, both the format as well as some of a taster of the content. I'm going to share some of the impacts at Manchester Met. So what happened after we rolled out carbon literacy leadership training within the university. And then finally, I'm going to hand over to two of our fantastic student trainers, Cam and Anna, and they will share their experience of facilitating and leading the carbon literacy for leaders training as well. And then by the end of the session as well, we'll have some Q&A. Right, so first let's begin with a background. So just a little introduction to who we are. Like I said, my name is Jane Mörk. I am a carbon literacy tutor at the university. I'm half of the core carbon literacy team here at Manchester Met. The other half is Dr. Rachel Dunk, who's my manager. She's currently at COP, so that's why I'm leading today's presentation. I'm saying the core team because there is a number of people at the university, both delivering training and also enabling it and making it happen. So we've got our environment team, for example, is doing a lot of the promotion. We've got about 14 student trainers. We've got 7 members of staff who are trained as trainers, and then numerous other members of staff who are also delivering the training. So there's quite a few of us who's involved in carbon literacy one way or the other at the university. So what do we have? What have we been delivering so far at the university? It's basically, we have standard carbon literacy training as well as a carbon literacy trainer program. This is being delivered to both students and staff, and we also deliver training to external organizations as well. So far, we delivered training to about 1,400 students and staff at the university and over 2,400 external participants. In terms of our train-the-trainer program, we delivered this to about 240 internal and external participants. As part of a base-funded project, we've been working with the Carbon Literacy Project to develop a sector-specific carbon literacy toolkit. This was about a year or so ago. So it's essentially an off-the-shelf package so you can deliver carbon literacy training within your organization. It contains both an online version of that course, a face-to-face version of it, and also a mix and match. And this carbon literacy training can be used for academics, professional services, and students as well. So anyone within the university can participate in this training. So far, about 12 universities have used our toolkit to deliver standard carbon literacy training. And we've also, the training is also being delivered by EAUC as well as the Association of Colleges. And I think it's over 800 people have so far been certified carbon literate through our carbon literacy toolkit. But I also like to point out other university toolkits are available as well. Right, so then why do we need a leader-specific toolkit? So with carbon literacy, there are a number of elements that each training needs to align to in order to be called carbon literacy. So there is this carbon literacy standard that training needs to align with. And one of the key components of carbon literacy is that it needs to be 8 hours worth of learning. So this is something that a lot of senior people might struggle to commit to. We already have diaries packed with meetings, etc. So it might be a challenge to commit to 8 hours of learning. I've also put the Carbon Literate Bronze organization logo up here because if you want to become a certified bronze organization, at least one senior member or leader in your organization or within your university need to have attended carbon literacy training. So the key problem is the time commitment. A lot of people are struggling with this, which is why here at Manchester Met we decided to develop a more flexible approach to carbon literacy training for this particular group. So I'm going to give you a little outline now of the toolkit and the approach as well. So there are essentially two strands of this training. The first one is a toolkit or a course for senior leaders, and the second one is for middle management as well. The main difference is that the senior leaders toolkit, this sort of engagement bit, having to engage with people, is much shorter than for middle management. And I'm going to show you a few slides now illustrating what I mean with this. So first of all, I'm going to give you a training outline of the face-to-face model of this course. And then I'm going to show you how it slightly differs between senior leaders and middle managers. So anyone who attends this leadership carbon literacy training will need to watch Climate Change to Facts. Following on from that, they'll need to do a workshop. And this is where you see the difference. If you're a senior leader, the workshop will be about 2 hours long, whilst if you're middle management, the workshop will be slightly longer, around 3 hours. And then finally, the final part of the leadership training is implementing your actions. So this is where it differs from normal carbon literacy training. In normal carbon literacy training, participants just need to pledge an action, whilst in the leadership training, they need to implement their action. And this implementation of action forms a core part of the training itself. So depending on what action people will pledge and then implement, this can take more than 4 hours, between 3 and 4 hours or whatever upwards, depending on what type of action. So that is the main difference, the need to implement your action in order to get your carbon literacy certificate. This is the online version, and as you can see, it's slightly longer. The workshop is slightly longer. So we're still watching Climate Change to Facts at the beginning of the session, but the workshop will be between 3 hours for senior leaders and 4 hours for middle management. And the reason for this is that everything just seems to take longer online. So that's why it's a longer version compared to the face-to-face training. But part number 3 is still the same in terms of implementing actions. Right, so I'm just going to give a little overview of what kind of themes are covered within carbon literacy. So within carbon literacy, if you're not familiar with it, there are certain themes that needs covering, and some will be more tailored than others to the group that you're training. So on your left, you'll see the theme, and on the right, you'll see the name of the activity. And I've just put the sort of name of the activity in there in case there is anyone out there who is already using a carbon literacy toolkit, and you might recognize some of the names from the standard toolkit that we have. So first of all, in the workshops, regardless if in the senior leaders training, we first cover a little bit on the basic science of climate change. Most of it would have been covered in the Climate Change to Facts documentary, but we do a quick overview of the greenhouse effect and the greenhouse gases. Then we look at the equity and fairness dimensions of climate change, and we do this through an international carbon footprint game. In the face-to-face version of this activity, we give each participant a card with a country's carbon footprint on it. So it could be USA's, for example, or Burundi's or Bangladesh carbon footprint. And they're then asked to line up from the highest to the lowest carbon footprint. And then following on from that, we have a number of questions we ask them, and then we also explore vulnerability to climate change. We did this activity with the University Leadership Forum back in March last year, actually. So we delivered a senior leadership carbon literacy training for them. And it was about 90 people in the room. So that was quite fun. We were about 90 people trying to line up. We all got a card each, and we had to line up from the highest to the lowest carbon footprint. So yeah, that was quite funny. Following on from this, we look at carbon footprint a bit more specifically. So here we look at the carbon footprint of food and travel. So especially business travel and the differences between traveling by plane or car sharing, etc. And we also explore key climate change policies. And then following on from that, we explore the role of universities. So here we're looking at what can we do as a university in transitioning to zero carbon, both in terms of shrinking our university estate's carbon footprint, so our sort of real carbon emissions, if we say so, but also looking at the sort of handprint aspect and the influencing aspect that we have. So how we can influence society through the research we do, through the education we provide, and also the wider outreach as well. So that's a nice presentation on that. And then we look at action. So here we're helping the leaders to explore the types of actions they can take. And I'm going to show you some of those examples in a bit. This is the outline for middle managers. So the 4 first activities and themes are very similar. But then we also explore what a zero carbon world could look like as well. We're using a wonderful resource developed by the Center for Alternative Technology called Postcards from the Future for this. And then we also look at, again, the role of universities, just as we did with the senior training. And then we begin to look at individual actions that the participants can take. And here we're exploring, first of all, the organizational culture. And then we also provide them with a list of different actions we want them to reflect on. And finally, we look at group actions, and we do this in a Dragon's Den activity. This activity was actually developed by Great Places Housing Group, another big carbon literacy training provider. It's quite fun, so we've been using it quite a lot with our leaders, where we had to come up with a group action together. So that's sort of the overview of the kind of themes and activities that you will see in the workshop section of the Carbon Literacy Toolkit. So I just wanted to touch on what kind of actions we were actually encouraging people to explore and implement as part of carbon literacy. And this includes anything from sending staff to carbon literacy training, so encouraging staff to do carbon literacy training, also to make sure that carbon literacy or climate action becomes a standing agenda item in Teams meeting. So any actions that the team needs to do in terms of carbon literacy or in terms of climate change, it's something that's being looked at every time they have a team meeting. We're also encouraging them to nominate champions, and this comes especially to the academic colleagues that we have. So in academic departments, that we are nominating champions within these departments to roll out carbon literacy within their department, students, and also to take part in carbon literacy training in our trainer program. And then finally, when a team is having an away day, to consider maybe doing either a taster carbon literacy session or a full day of carbon literacy. So these are the kind of actions we encourage the participants to engage with, explore, and potentially implement. And the reason why we're sticking to these kind of actions is that they're very much culture-based. So the idea is that we're trying to change the culture within the university. And from these types of actions, we're hoping to be able to see more sort of low carbon action taking place. So that was essentially our toolkit. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the impact at Manchester Met and what we've seen happen as a result of our leadership training. So we've developed the first bit of leadership training back in March 2020, like I said. So we managed to do one big session before the pandemic hit. And then we also developed the online version, and we've been delivering that throughout the past year as well. In the session, it's normally myself or Rachel who leads some of the activities. And then we have our student trainers as well, helping out, facilitating the different discussions with our leaders. So I just wanted to give a little overview now of the impact of the training. So first, if we start with technical services, Kate Dixon is the head of technical services, and as part of attending the leadership training, Kate made a commitment to train her whole team in carbon literacy. So as a result of this, we developed a slightly bespoke version of our standard carbon literacy training, and we've been delivering that over a number of sessions over the past 6 months. And since then as well, a number of staff have become carbon literacy trainers, which is exciting. And we've also been sharing the experience of this sort of more bespoke carbon literacy training as part of the Institute of Science and Technology's annual conference in September. So it becomes this kind of cascading effect of carbon literacy that Kate Dixon decided that let's embed carbon literacy within the department. But now we've also been able to share this experience beyond and sort of advocate for carbon literacy beyond the university to this very specific group, which has been very, very exciting as a result of this. In finance, the director of finance, Andrew Hewitt, made a commitment to train the whole team in carbon literacy. So that's very exciting. So in December, we will be delivering training to between 90 and 100 members of staff. So that's lovely. And then in the business school as well, we've had a numbers of leaders asking academics to become carbon literacy champions and then roll out carbon literacy within their department. So the profile of carbon literacy have definitely been raised even further in business school. They do a lot of great stuff there already, and they've been doing carbon literacy for a few years, but they managed to raise this profile even more as a result of the leadership training. And also a number of staff have attended the Train the Trainer program as well. So these are just 3 examples of some of the things that have happened. But I think more than anything, what's been exciting is how we've been able to engage with staff all over the university, both from professional services as well as academic departments. So it's really increased the reach of carbon literacy and conversations around climate change as well. So it's really, really helped to sort of increase that sort of profile much more than before we had the Train the Trainer program. And then, so that was essentially a little overview of what the Carbon Literacy for Leaders Toolkit is, some of the things that's happened at the university as a result of that. But because this is Youth Empowerment Day today, I also wanted to focus on the student trainer experience. Like I mentioned, our student trainers have been vital, instrumental in these sessions. They've been helping guiding these conversations with our leaders. So I'm going to hand over to Cam and Anna, who will share their experience now of training leaders. So bear with me 2 seconds. I'm going to stop sharing now and I hand over to Cam and Anna.
So I don't know if you want to go first, Cam.
I can do. I don't mind.
Sure, go for it.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Jane, as well, and to the Carbon Literacy Project. So my name is Cameron, and I'm a level 7 business master's student, and I became a carbon literacy trainer as well in 2019. So I've been doing both of those for the last few years, and I've done 2 or 3 leader sessions now. I've done them online and in person as well. And they've been really fun. I have fun with all the training sessions that I do as a carbon literacy trainer, because fundamentally I know that I'm helping people and then they're going to go and help other people. So that's always great, but doing it with leaders especially just makes it even better. And I have even more fun with the leaders, really, because you get to watch them come up with such impactful individual and group actions. And in all the sessions I've been in, all the leaders have always wanted to be there as well. They've come in, they're engaged, they want to be there, they're asking detailed questions, clearly really thinking about it and their role as an individual and as a leader in facilitating a more carbon conscious culture. So yeah, it's been really great. I've really enjoyed training the leaders. It's been really good for me as well, actually. So with doing a business masters, I do a bit of consultancy work as well. So being a trainer overlaps a lot with that. So obviously I've watched how good it's been for the leaders. They've really enjoyed it and they've come out with revelations and big impacts and actions and stuff, but I've also benefited from it a lot as well, working with kind of top level management, because it's similar to the work I do as a consultant as well. And then obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but the communication side of things as well, kind of operating in that. Obviously, carbon literacy training is professional and it's fun, but when you take it up to the highest level of management, it's that bit more professional and formal. So the communication's got to be spot on, the questioning's got to be spot on, you've got to be listening better, and it's been really, really good experience for me in that regard. So yeah, all around it's been really fun, it's been really good. The leaders have been great. It's great to see so many leaders getting involved as well. I hope more do. And yeah, that's a bit of insight into my time training leaders. I'll pass over to Anna.
Yeah. So yeah, my name's Anna. I haven't been training as long as Cam. I think I started early last year, but I've only done the online sessions for the leadership training program. But I initially found it quite daunting going in, because obviously these are like much higher level than we are. But as Cam said, when you go into it, everybody's really engaged in carbon literacy and also in taking climate action, and it's like quite inspiring to see, you know, the main leaders at your university are taking such actions, and like as a student it's really great to see. But yeah, as well as like Cam said, it's obviously quite a level up from most of our training we do deliver to peers, which is on a different level, I suppose, and it gave quite a lot of good experience in delivering carbon literacy training to a different group of people, and sort of the different teaching styles and just the way that the session is. But yeah, everybody's really great in the leadership sessions. Like as me and Cam said, they're always really engaged, and it's really great to just even be in the room for those conversations as well, and just to see all the like inspiring actions that they're trying to take sort of already, but also as a result of the carbon literacy training as well. So yeah, it's been really good.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Anna and Cam. So I'm just going to conclude with a little bit of upcoming events, and then if anyone has any questions for either myself or Cam or Anna, you're welcome to ask them. So bear with me. There we go. Can I check, Anna? Am I in full screen?
Yep, I can see that.
Wonderful, thank you. So just a couple of upcoming events. The reason I'm promoting this is that it can potentially support you if you've not done carbon literacy before, but interested in the toolkit or any of the other toolkits. These two events might support you. So next week we do a free online event called Teach Carbon Literacy, Empower Others to Take Action on Climate Change. It's aimed at anyone with some kind of facilitation or teaching experience, where we'll be giving an overview of our standard carbon literacy training. So people will be experience those activities, and then by the end of the week will be able to go away and roll out carbon literacy within their educational context. And then we also have a open carbon literacy trainer program, which starts on the 16th of November. There will be 4 sessions before Christmas, plus some activity practice in January as well. So it's every Tuesday, 16th I think is a Tuesday, in between November and December, and then another couple of sessions in the new year. So if you're interested in any of these sessions, please go to our website. It's essentially mmu.ac.uk/sustainability, carbon literacy, and then external partners. Okay, I think that's us done. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And yeah, I just wanted to check if anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much for that, Jane. Yeah, just to reiterate, we have the Q&A function, and also if anybody wants to speak, we can unmute your mic from our end. I don't think you can do it yourselves, but we can do that for you if you have any questions. So thanks everyone for coming, and thanks for sharing that with us, Jane. And you can find the events that Jane was just talking about, you can find as well on the Carbon Literacy Project website's events page too. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic.